Hi, it's Simon Lovell here, the Modern Spiritual Man, bringing you growth in under 10 minutes. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and also hit that bell to make sure that you get updates. Now, I was walking my puppy Buddha today, and I thought to myself, if I had to share a video to give my best advice to a guy who really wants to grow, how can I do that in this time frame? So I'm going to be sharing with you my best advice after investing over $250,000 in personal development. And I need to share with you, first of all, my journey, but also I want to obliterate some excuses. You see, at the age of 13, I was heavily bullied. A life event happened where I just didn't feel safe around people and I started to isolate myself. And because of that, in my later years, I started to get addicted. Gambling, drugs, I racked up 7 credit cards of debt, and I was living in a completely unaware stage of my life. But I had a desire. I wanted to be a better person. And I made this commitment, and I said to myself, I'm going to work as hard as I can for the next few years to have the life that most people want. And my drive was money. My drive was success. My drive was the Ferrari and the house with the electric gates and moving to California from the UK. And I created a vision board in 2013, and on that was the Ferrari, the big house with the electric gates, the supermodel girlfriend, the the money in the bank. And I went through a big stage of working as a personal trainer, and I started to make some decent money. But I had this mental shift, and I decided to go from just investing a little bit to really diving deep, and I hired a mentor. And that mentor taught me sales. He taught me high ticket sales. And that really helped me because it built my confidence. It was the energetical exchange between me and this mentor that got me to grow, because I didn't believe in myself. And sometimes we need someone else to believe in me. So what happened was I made this commitment, and my company went from $0 to $1 million in 18 months. And when I moved to California from the UK, I got the Ferrari. I got the Ferrari California, black, right? And I got the home with the electric gates. And it was a lot of my ego wanting to spend that. Why? Because it made me feel good. And if I'm just being brutally honest with you, I would drive those cars down to the beach so people would look at me. I would get that hit, that shot, right? Because I'd been bullied. I didn't realize this at the time, but I had this trauma. And so it was about seeking validation. It was about not feeling good enough. And so what happened when my relationship broke down and I was in a codependent relationship? To fill the void, I got the next Ferrari up, and I moved into a bigger house. And there's this amazing documentary with Jim Carrey called Jim and Andy, and it talks about Jim's role within this movie called Man on the Moon, but it's also about Jim's spiritual awakening. And much like that, I got everything that my ego wanted. I reached the height of my ego, and I realized that it wasn't it. And I started to ask this question, where am I leading people to? Material success, right? I desired everything external instead of really doing the much deeper work internally. But I did that. I started to meditate. I worked on myself. I invested on myself. And I started to shed. I started to let go of the old parts of myself. And I ditched the need for material success. And I started to really accept myself. And how did I do that? I released the shame I had and the embarrassment around a sexual encounter I had with another boy when I was young. I killed off what my ego wanted. I moved out of the big house and I let go of the car, and I was just like, I consciously just killed off what my ego and what my mind wanted, and I started to listen to my heart and what my heart wanted. And so I wanted to share that with you, but I also wanted to share with you a couple of things, which is you have to make a commitment. I made a commitment, yes, to make money, but I also made a commitment to grow myself as a person. You also may need to let go or move away from where you're living, or at least, start to detach yourself from some people that aren't supporting your growth. You're also going to need to invest in yourself versus spending on yourself. Because when we spend and we're compulsive, right, we're impatient, we want that thing that the mind wants. Yes, we might get it, but when we get it, it's only a fix for a certain period of time, because what happens is we get that and then we need the next thing up. Okay, it's called the hedonic treadmill. And what happens is we get that next piece of money, and I might, have hit the 100 grand a month, and then it's like, well, I want the 150, and then I want the 200. And so what I was doing was I was comparing myself to other people that had more money. And the moment I killed off what my ego wanted, I stopped comparing myself and I started to feel free, because no longer was I trying and yearning and trying to reach a goal for what someone else had and what my vision of success was for their life. But truth is, I didn't really know what their life was about. And so here's the key, which is, what do you want? Not what anyone else wants, not what they have, but what does your heart want? What do you want deep in your soul? And we need to go internally to get those answers. And you may be at a stage of your life, because I remember when I saw videos like this and I was exposed to things like this, that it resonated with me, but I didn't do anything about it. And I'm not here to rush you and to push you. I'm here to bring awareness to something that either you're going to take action on, or I'm planting a seed right now that will come about later and maybe speed up the process of you of a deeper level of fulfillment versus happiness shots. Because we can get happiness shots everywhere, from the next thing that we buy, from the money that we make, from all of that. But deep fulfillment comes from knowing ourselves, and not just knowing ourselves, but living from our truest self. See, if that is our truest self, then what takes us away is other people's desires, is living inauthentically, right? It's everything where we shut ourselves down. You know, for example, when I was bullied, then I isolated myself. Then my ego, wanted the drugs and wanted all of those unhealthy soothing strategies. So we have healthy soothing, meditation, spending time in nature, just being with whatever nature has given us. And then we have unhealthy soothing, which is everything external, right? Which is the drugs, which is the gambling, which is the alcohol, which is anything which is like adding toxicity to us. And my life was so toxic. And when your life is so toxic, you bring in toxic people, because it's an energy match. You've got to look at who you're around. And I know you've probably heard it before, right? Surround yourself with the right people. The 5, people, are going to actually affect your life. That's one small piece of it. We have to commit to self-awareness. How do you get more self-aware? I did another video on this. You can check out the channel. Number 1, it's what you read. It's how you educate yourself. I want to thank you for being here and even putting this into the search. Number 2, which comes from going inward, things like meditation. Number 3, from the coaches and the mentors and the people that guide you. But you have to be careful about who those people are. Why? Because you could end up hiring someone or getting the support of someone that has a life that you think you want, but actually isn't it. And the job of a mentor actually is not to take you to their life of what they have, but is actually to help you to go inward to your own desires, right? To help you decide on what your heart wants, and noticing the difference between the ego and the mind, and getting that mind and heart coherence, where there's this connectivity between the two. But if we don't know the difference, and we don't feel the difference, and we don't have an understanding of, am I living from my heart or am I living from my head? If we don't know that, then we can't possibly live there. So start educating yourself around living from your heart and heart-based decisions, and understanding the ego and understanding the mind and how that runs the show, and how social exposure and the things that we're exposed to can take us in a direction that's actually away from our truest essence. The things that we're exposed to on a daily basis can take us so far away from who we truly are that we become drained. And people take their lives not because they don't want their lives, but because they don't know who they are. And when we know who we are and we start to find out and understand how we operate, that's where we get our power back. And power, the first level of power, it comes from courage, not living in fear, but stepping into courage, which is going to mean difficult decisions. What decision are you going to make from this video? Because I don't want this video to just be another piece of education. Because what happens is, when we learn but we don't take action, we get frustrated because we have a lot of knowledge, but our life doesn't change. What are you going to do from this video? Please post into the comments below. There's something I know that you need to do that you've not done yet. Everybody has this. Take this video as a window of opportunity to do the thing that you've been putting off that can take your life to the next level so that you can grow as a man. I'll see you very soon. Subscribe to the channel and also hit that bell to make sure that you get future updates. I'll see you very soon.